Welcome to the Bergen County Academies, otherwise known as Hell. Andrew, only a young boy, was offered a better future, where to colleges and careers he would be a joy. But to make it to this place, he had to go to a world beyond the living, where chaos reigning was the status quo. To embark on this mission, he was guided by a girl who was a good addition. And so their adventure began. They entered the depths of school without any plan.
The upper hell, which is the first 5 levels of hell, is composed of self-indulgent sins. The next 4 circles compose the lower hell. Circles 6 and 7 are for violent sins, while circle 8 and 9 are for malicious sins. The first 5 levels of hell are self-indulgent sins.
These are the sins that satisfy one's desire and display greed. The 2 square rule, eating in the hallways, cutting class, inappropriate behavior, and disruptive in class are all sins that are egocentric and satisfy one's greed. The sinners who are in levels 1 through 5 do not consider others into the equation when committing the crime.
The next grouping of sins is violent crimes. Violent crimes are those that involve substantial risk where force against oneself or property may be used in the course of committing the offense. Since drinking, drugs, and weapons, as well as vandalism and theft, involve violence, these crimes are all part of violent sins.
For example, drinking and drugs are a part violent crimes since it is deteriorating on the sinners themselves. Violent crimes are ranked above self-indulgent crimes since they are not driven by greed, but by enmity. However, violent crimes and malicious crimes are different since violent crimes do not involve physical, emotional, or verbal attacks on others.
Malicious crimes are the next and final grouping of sins. They are considered the worst because of the planning and thought that is required in committing the crime. Malice is a sin most hated by God, and the aim of malice is to injure others. Malice is the only set of sins that must be perpetuated through a thought process.
Cheating, as well as harassment, intimidation, and bullying, are malicious crimes because both require a thought-out choice to commit the crime. Cheating must be planned out well ahead of the sinner committing the crime. Harassment, intimidation, and bullying are long-term crimes which can be stopped at any time, but the sinner chooses not to.
The first level of hell is the 2 square rule. Because the sinners slow progress and cause unbalance to others, they are forever stuck in mud, where their paces are significantly slowed down. Since the mud is difficult to navigate through, they are stuck in the state of imbalance and slow progress. Mr. Wasek occupies the circle to enforce the rule and punish the sinners.
The second circle of hell is eating in the hallways. Eating in the hallways leaves crumbs on the floor, attracting mice and rats to the hallway. The sinners also leave the food to ferment and grow moldy in the hallway, decreasing the sanitary level of the school. Here, the sinners are forever immersed in fermenting food. The constant and excruciating hunger drives them through the fermenting food in order to scavenge for a rare edible product. As soon as they find an edible piece of food to eat, they become overwhelmed with the smell of the food and thus will not be able to eat.
Two Messian fox goes around stealing the food from the sinners, and the sinners will be left to watch the fox eat, and the process continues again. Along with the fox, Bergen County Police Officer Dennis Ross will be present and will ride his bicycle to ensure that no sinner is able to retain food long enough to eat.
The third level of hell is cutting class. Cutting class causes an indirect disturbance to class and harms the progress of the class. Sinners cut class in order to avoid responsibility. Therefore, the sinners are punished by being heaped with responsibility. They are forever tormented by crying plastic babies. The sinners are forced to take care of the babies at all times. Lamia, a vampiric demon which preyed on children, is constantly trying to take the babies away from the sinners.
Mrs. Fuentes manages this level and watches for any misbehavior or lack of responsibilities. She works with the 100-eye monster, Argus Papontes. The monster punishes those who cannot take care of their babies, including the sinners whose babies were snatched by Lamia, by throwing them into a pit of fire. Therefore, the sinners are overwhelmed with the responsibility of a baby, which they try to avoid when cutting class, and are constantly running away from Lamia to protect the baby.
The fourth level of hell is inappropriate behavior. Inappropriate behavior often makes students around them feel awkward and disgusted. Because these types of inappropriate behavior requires consensus of two and is driven by affection towards each other, the punishment involves both partners. The two people that display public affection are glued to each other's backs. They are the closest to each other while being the furthest away from each other, since they cannot turn around and they will have to walk completely around to reach the other. The lust between them is forever present, since they are the closest to each other, while any type of inappropriate behavior will never be accomplished due to the fact that they will never be able to face each other again.
Mrs. Rick, who guards the level, constantly chases the sinners, and since the sinners are bounded together, they are forced to run awkwardly, just as they made others feel awkward watching them.
The fifth level of hell is being disruptive in class and in the hall. Since the sinners distract others from focusing, the sinners are not able to focus themselves. Their level is to be surrounded by mountains and walls that reflect sound off of the walls. Even the slightest noise will be amplified continuously through the echo. For example, the sound of a pin drop will be eventually amplified to the sound of a train through multiple echoes, and therefore the sinners would not be able to make any noise.
In addition to this, sirens occupy this level of hell. They also act as a distraction in two ways. The first is distracting them directly by calling to the sinners, just as they have to the sailors in Greco-Roman mythology. The other is their call will echo throughout the level and create unbearable sounds to sinners. Mr. Alshin will reside in the second level to ensure the sinners stay silent. He yells and scolds the sinners, and the impossible to quiet sirens will only add to the sound. The sinners are forever distracted by loud noises and will not be able to focus on a single thought.
The sixth level of hell is the possession of drinking, drugs, and weapons. Because the students who drink, do drugs, and use weapons stray away from the right road or the light, they are lured into the darkness, and they are forever trapped in the dark. This light is to be comprised of a tunnel where there is a light at one end. Since the sinners crave the light, they are always trying to move towards the light.
Each sinner is under the impression that only one soul can reach the light. Because of this, the sinners are not only trying to reach the light themselves, but also trying to stop others from reaching the light. Dr. Nitasik is present in the circle to stop them and thrust them back into the darkness to ensure the punishment is carried out. The sinners are trapped forever in the darkness, away from the right road or light.
The seventh level of hell is vandalism and theft. This level is comprised by all types of sin that destroys other people's property, vandalism and theft. The punishment, although in the same level, will vary between vandalism and theft. Theft is a crime where the sinners use their hands to snatch others' property. Because the crime of theft requires the theft to be adroit. In hell, their hands and legs are weighed down with weights that inhibit any quick movements. They are also required to wear gloves that does not allow their fingers to hold, and thus the sinners will not be able to grab anything. The birds, more specifically, Stymphalian birds from Greek mythology, steal only the sinners' only thing, their bodies. These man-eating birds eat a little piece of the sinner's body as they swoop down. Sinners' bodies are reformed whenever they are killed by the birds. Mr. Davis is present in this circle to ensure that the Stymphalian birds are stealing from the sinners and that the sinners are unable to defend themselves. With these punishments, they are stuck in a state where they will never be able to get what they desire and constantly be stolen from.
As for vandalism, because the sinners are permanently damaging the school property, they are forever stuck in a circle where nothing is permanent. This level is a constantly rotating sphere where everything will be moving. Anything they desire will be moved out of reach as soon as they reach it.
The eighth level of hell is cheating. Since sinners received an unfair advantage through their cheating in life, the sinners are forced to work hard, only to be ousted by others who took advantage of them. They are forced to work every day and produce incredible things, which are promptly taken away from them. Those who receive the benefits of the sinners are nearby in order to ensure that the sinners are able to witness their work being used by others.
Dr. Raymond Bath makes certain that no sinner is receiving the benefit from their own work. He also ensures that they are watching as others enjoy and benefit from the work that the sinners have completed. This combination of creating and then watching the others work to provide the proper punishment.
The last and ninth circle of hell is only for the worst sinners. It is for those who have sinned by harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Harassment, intimidation, and bullying are often intended to make others self-conscious of the way they are. The bullies constantly pick on their victims about their looks, social lives, personalities, families, along with other things. Whether it may be verbal, physical, or emotional, the bullies make others feel uncomfortable in their own skin. The sinners, therefore, are faced with the same consequences of bullying by stripping the sinner's skin through drops of hydrochloric acid. Dr. Howard Lerner is responsible for spraying and dropping hydrochloric acid on the sinners.
The acid removes their skin from their bodies, and because of this, the sinners, in an attempt to cover themselves and keep their skin from disintegrating, hold themselves together. Through exposing their inner body, the bullies will be insecure about their beings. The Ecatonians, who are Greek gods of violent storm and hurricanes, create a constant wind that will make the sinners difficult to cover themselves and keep their skin on their bodies. Koboloi, a species of mischievous creatures fond of tricking or frightening humans, are also present in order to mock the sinners to make them more embarrassed about themselves.
Andrew and Joanna went through all of the 9 circles of hell and came out on the other side of BCA, facing the Hackensack River. And they were only able to look off into the sunset and appreciate the life that they had.